Morning.
Hi.
Morning.
Okay, so who wants to call the meeting to order? I suppose I can. It doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah,
No, sounds good.
call it to order and then we'll go for a chair vote.
So we will call this meeting of the Health Director Search Committee to order. It is Friday, April 2nd, 9:02 a.m. We are meeting remotely, so I will read the governor's order. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Health Director Search Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Westborough's website at town.westborough.ma.us. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means and through Westborough TV. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the Town of Westborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Okay, so we have just a couple items for open session and then before we move into executive session. But I think the first item would be nominations for a chair.
I suggest that the chair be either Christy or myself, and I'm happy for it to be Christy.
Oh, I was going to nominate you. Yeah, that's fine. I'll accept the nomination.
I'll second the nomination.
We have to vote.
Yes.
Yes, it's roll call.
Roll call.
You're still
Leonardo,
running it for now, Kim.
Leonardo says yes.
Ehrlich, yes.
Williams, yes.
Purcell, yes.
Foster, yes.
Thank you. And then Kim is taking minutes for our meeting. Okay.
I am.
All right. I guess we would want a vice chair. I don't know that we're pretty small, so.
I'm not sure we need that.
Yeah, okay, all right. So then let me just pull up the agenda again. So we were going to talk about the development of questions for a future interview. And so Kim, I think you had a suggestion related to how we would do that. I mean, Kim obviously creates questions for when we do other interviews. And so I think we could ask her to give us some initial questions. But go ahead, Kim.
My suggestion was going to be if you have specific questions that you're interested in asking or having included in our list of questions, if you would email those directly to me and only to me. I will work off of some other questions that I've already compiled, and then we can distribute the questions in advance of the interview and determine at that point who may want to ask which questions. We can't discuss questions in executive session. We have to have this discussion in open session. So I'm not sure that we want to go through our list of questions in open session. That's why I'm suggesting that people send specific thoughts to me and I could compile a set.
That sounds okay to me. What I would say is I think there are two main areas that I think we need to focus on. First of all, the job, as I see it, for as the chair of the Board of Health, is one that is very hands-on and practical. This is not somebody who is, running an office of 20 people and their management skills are the primary factor. They need to have management skills, of course, but they need practical skills with the diverse set of activities that the Board of Health is responsible for, from perk testing, septic work, enforcing the housing code, enforcing the sanitary code, pool inspections, mosquito control, and even, of course, our oversight of the transfer station. So, questions that focus on experience relative to those things, I think, are important. And then the second thing, of course, is the ability to work collegially with other department heads and experience in capacities that will shed light on that. And if we have somebody who can work well within our organizational structure and has the requisite knowledge and skills and experience to understand what and implement the duties of the health department, then I think that would be the things I'm looking for.
Okay.
I would add that I think we want to understand the individual's communication style and ability to communicate out to the community. I think we've seen that more, obviously during the pandemic, the need for that in all of our departments. And then also would be interested in drawing some questions off of the draft goals of the master plan related to public health.
If I had one comment, and I actually spoke to Fred about that offline this morning, I think the having an RS is probably pretty important. I think we're starting to see more housing pop up, or housing projects pop up where we have a moratorium on sewer. We're seeing more and more septic. I think that could be expanded probably even more in the future if land becomes available. So I think having that RS is probably a really big deal. Just my 2 cents.
I'd agree with that.
Anything else that we want to focus on in terms of our questions?
Albeit, it may have already been captured, but the codes with, what's the word I'm trying to, housing. I think you might have already mentioned that, but housing codes are a big part of that. We're trying to get some of the older houses that are not habitable, something going with that. So we've kind of stalled on that whole thing too.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're both, and this actually gets at the whole issue, one of the deeper issues of the value of that type of experience. One of the questions I'm going to ask, whether it be one of your posed questions or as things come up, is, have you ever gone to court? Having to enforce housing code of landlords versus renters, or trying to get things condemned, or any of these types of things. What's understanding that process of going to court, why you don't want to do it if you don't have to, and then how to do it and what to expect when you do it. I think that's really valuable experience.
Yeah, and Pat and I have talked about this. Probably the number one thing for us is that team element that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a really good team right now, and anything we could do to not disrupt that. We all pretty much, the majority of us fire on the same page, or we're always on the same page. So anything we can do to keep that intact will be beneficial to everybody.
That can't be understated, to be honest with you.
I know.
So sometimes with department head level interviews, we do some sort of writing sample at some point in the process. And so that might be something that we want to discuss also. I don't know if that's not going to certainly get to exactly what you're talking about, but I think some of the things that we've asked for in the past are like a 90-day, what are you going to do in your first 90 days? Or, maybe it's a sample of communication that they've done in the past. So I think that might, depending on, who we decide and how many we decide to interview, we might have multiple rounds of interview, and that might come up as something that we want to do.
I can speak on behalf of the writing assignment for the first 90 days because I was required to do it. And I was frankly angry when I had to, but by the time I was done, it was probably the best part of the exercise, because when I showed up to work on my first day, I wasn't spinning in my chair. I already had a whole plan in front of me, like ready to go, because throughout my process, I had already learned what some of the expectations were, identified what some of the strengths and weaknesses were, and it really helped me to hit the ground running. So I agree 100% with Christy on that and advocate for that as well.
Good. All right, anything else that we want to focus on with questions? No. Okay. Then I think we can take a motion to go into executive session.
And we go into executive session?
Yep, we're going to go into executive session to discuss the candidates.
No, I made that motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'd second that. Leonardo seconds that.
Kim, you're on mute.
Yeah.
I think she has the motion.
I'll do just the formal for the record. So move the committee enter into executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21, subsection 8, to consider applicants for employment for the position of health director due to the chair's determination that a discussion regarding these matters in an open meeting may have a detrimental effect in obtaining qualified applicants.
So moved. And Fred seconds?
Yes, Leonardo seconded it.
Okay. All right.
Foster, yes?
Leonardo, yes.
Ehrlich, yeah.